inside Thursday night. How's it going? Alright, strip back, good crack, multi-trade podcast. Share the knowledge you know, help to make our sector grow. Everybody's learning from experts and the journeyman. Insights.
Right, we're back. Season 10, episode 5. I'm Stephen Buckley.
And I'm Keith Dellahan.
And this is the Stripped Back podcast, sponsored by Snickers Workwear Ireland.
And also brought to you in association with N2 Electrical here in Ashburn.
Yeah, we've got a good one again this week. We've got a fellow podcaster, somebody who has had us on his podcast, and now we're returning the favour and putting him on the other side of the mic. Conor Foster is joining us from the 1040 podcast.
Yeah, it should be a good one. As you said, repaying the favour. Really enjoy his podcast, and we're lucky to get him on the other side of the table, so it should be a good one.
Yeah, we got a glimpse into his past while we were in his studio, where he told us about his time in the army and a bit of plumbing, and now he's in the recruitment game, so it's a bit of an interesting one to see what goes on in that field, in that sector.
Exactly, like I know you do a little bit through your work and I do a little bit through our business as well, so it's good to see how the recruiters are, vetting the people looking for jobs and also the clients as well.
Yeah, 100%. I guess without further ado, let's get into it.
Let's jump into it.
The phones are sometimes clearer than the camera, and sometimes the cameras overheat. Like, the studio that we were quite
for so long, yeah.
The one we're in there, like when they first opened, and their camera overheated halfway through the episode. I was like, lads, come on, like it's fucking €250 an hour to be here.
Yeah, I can't have that happen.
But the phones were grand. That's how I started, like 3 phones in the room.
Yeah.
But then the editors would always complain that the files are too chunky or something.
Yeah, so you can get them, because if I do that on 4K, so if I do 4K recording,
the native one,
it's very, very heavy. Like it's very, but if you do like
180p.
No, if you do 60 FPS, so frames per second, like it's too heavy.
That the first one you did on that iPhone was like that, because it was the native one that came with it, and you had to step it down, but it didn't make a difference.
No, because YouTube can only YouTube can only process, I think, 180p anyway.
Yeah, but the 60 FPS is too heavy of a file. Like, so even if you tried to do that,
24, I think you dropped it to, did you?
The 30 is on it.
Yeah,
it actually
30
works. But if you do the 60, it's too heavy. So then I ended up having to go onto CapCut, break up an hour episode into like a 20 minute, and then upload it, edit it, and put it back together again. It was a disaster, like absolute disaster. Like, but it's see, I enjoy it. Like, it's just interesting. Like, but it's like it's
you have that kind of, you're like into it, like that would melt
your brain.
But it is that though. No, look, it's like
you are like that. Like if I want, like I'd sometimes slip so like Stephen would be I'd be texting him there, and I might have a problem with something, and I'd be like, what do you think of this, Steve?
He's gone down the rabbit hole trying to fix it.
Leave that there for half an hour and he'd come back. Yeah, I found this online. I think you should do it this way. Like, he fucking savage.
Outsourced it,
like a real like ChatGPT.
He is, yeah.
But so when we started
don't get the bill either. Like, don't get the invoice.
You start getting it out.
You just get the phone calls and the text coming through, the ping and the noise of those. The only thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'd be. So we started out, because I'd watch, like you'd listen to, say, Stephen Bartlett and stuff, and Stephen Bartlett would be talking about, like, having the sheet over his head in the bedroom and the mics and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, trying to do the intros.
Yeah. But it's just like, if you think about like what we were doing, like, and it was audio only, and we were interviewing people and we couldn't see them, like, so we weren't even doing Zooms and all.
Oh yeah, the phone calls. I remember you seeing the mic, and you had the microphone out and stuff. Yeah,
and we'd have to
clipped into the USB.
We'd ring people,
Yeah,
it was literally like a phone call, wasn't it?
And
they were like, are we logging on now? What are we doing? I said, no, we're on, like, it's recording.
Yeah.
we think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's how you have to, like, I know, like, for my first one, I think I was up in Tesco looking for different memory cards, because I had like a DLSR camera that I bought, and I kept turning off every 20 minutes, and I was like, geez, I can't record a podcast like that. But it wasn't the memory cards, it was the camera that was the problem, because they overheat, like, so I ended up recording then on 3 phones. On 3 different tripods, and it was
that was part of the reason why we didn't go for the camera, because it was the cost, like, to get something that'll do over the hour. I think it was you're in over
$3,500.
I was going to say we were over 2.5 anyway, and that would have been like one of the basics, you know what I mean? So
in Spain, I bought one. I was interviewing Dan from Tenerife Force Excursions. I was like, I can't show up with a phone. So I went down and bought a camera for $3,500 and showed up to his office then with the tripod and everything. Now, it turned out it was a grand episode. But I was like, I'm spending $3,500 on a camera and the phone is just as
straight
good.
back down, you have the tag on it.
Export everything off it.
I'll take the memory card.
It is like that type of thing there. Like if you think about like the grand scheme of podcasting,
we're running, yeah.
Oh, it's on now, Keith. I'm not stopping now.
Yeah, how do we start? It's the worst part.
Welcome. It's on now. But yeah, no, like the grand scheme of if you think about it. So what, like we're probably 2 and a bit years in now.
Yeah.
And when we would have started, it would have been Spotify for creators or Spotify for
that's
podcasters,
right,
and that was the audio only. Like that was having the phone, plugging it in, and then you used to get all the audio files, and you had to put them together.
Yeah.
Thinking about them like as a platform, like a massive platform like Spotify,
And it was
like,
basic, like.
and it was basic. You know what I mean? But there was other people out there already, like sort of ahead of the curve, like doing the video and doing all that. Like and we were like that. That was perfect for me. I think if we had started on video now, it would have been over my head, way over my head.
Yeah, it's just baby steps, but I was just lucky that my assistant was able to kind of just get the editing down. I was like, that's your job now. The extra €100 a week or €100 an episode, good luck.
Yeah.
There's no stress with that then either, is there? Like, or do you feel like, you know, you've seen it go a certain way as
do you know what, like, I was so like hands-on when I first started, right? Like, I was like really kind of like anal about it, and they'd be all given out, like, because it was on the phone, the clips are so clunky, but like now that, like, you know, nearly 100 episodes, kind of just happy to kind of pass it off, leave it all to get done. So I just go in, talk, do the write-up, and then send it all off, and they just post it all, and then I just let everyone. And all I have to do is kind of go onto Instagram or whatever and add them as collaborations, because you can't do that through Buffer.
Yeah.
But other than that, then, yeah, it's all kind of
Yeah. Well, we
nearly automated.
You can overthink it though, like, can't you? Like,
Yeah.
You have it, like you were mentioned there, even with, you know, you see these big studios and you're like, you know, the Talking Bollocks and all these like podcasts and the quality of content that's being put out, like, but then you're looking at it and you feel like you have to match that, or you feel like you have to, like, you know, either copy it in some way, don't you? Like, but like everybody has their niche. Like everybody like, you can't be a carbon copy of somebody else's podcast and expect it to do well also, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's a massive machine as well behind the lads as well, like that guy out there like producing like serious amount of podcasts. Like that's like one of our main revenue streams is just podcasts.
And that's how they're getting, you know, the following, because they are just rocking up as themselves. I know they probably get sent like, you know, or here's who's coming, but I'm sure they're about 80% off the cuff, like the way they operate, like, you know. Yeah, well, they're just having the crack, aren't they? And then they have a few questions and a bit of research, and that's it.
Yeah. But everything's in podcast form now, though, isn't it? Like, you get like right down to like the RTEs and everything like that. Any shows that they're putting out, they're pushing the podcast end of it now.
Yeah. RTE actually ran one for like independent podcasts to be like commissioned or whatever.
Yeah.
So you could apply for it. Now, I think we missed the closing date.
Well.
They would have took us.
We would have won that, yeah.
But look, what we usually do is like similar to yourself, like getting talking, and you know, you're returning the favour for us. We jumped on your podcast, and like that, we were shitting ourselves. Before we
shitting
That's terrible. You know, it is just a chat, isn't it? Like, and you sort of changed. I was only saying to you on the phone. Obviously, we had a phone call during the week there. Myself and Keith sort of took a leaf from your book, getting in and just sitting down and talking. Like, 'cause we used to script everything, didn't we? We used to go really deep on the scripts, and we'd have it in front of us, and be able to get down and realise that conversations can actually just flow and evolve, and you know, just from having like other people's opinions put on the table, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember when we first one, I had a notepad with a whole list of questions, and I kept looking down and asking the question.
They were the same.
But like, you have to just start, don't you? Like, it's just about getting it going, and like then you progress and you get more comfortable. Like even like I'm obviously looking at the camera now saying, "Oh, it's there," but like in your own podcast, like, or when I was in my studio or whatever, like I'm comfortable now in the room, not really too worried about the camera. And you're just kind of concentrating on the conversation, so it's grand. But it takes a while to kind of ease into it, you know. It's not just a case. Like,
imagine doing
the cost of starting is being shit, you know. Like, you have to just be willing to be shit to get started. So, it's grand.
But for you, like on your own, like me and Stephen can bounce off each other, like where he'll take nearly like 70-80% of the thing, and I'm in the background, and I'll have a certain like thing that I want to ask, like, and it could be completely off topic whatsoever, and just throw the whole thing out of proportion. But to be on your own and doing it, like, I don't know how you would have done that. That took a lot of courage at the start. Like,
yeah, but like even like I just said now, it's just a recruiter interview. So even if I meet like someone and they're coming in for a job, like I'm just sitting down and having a conversation with them about their CV. So before someone comes into the studio, it's grand if you have like a LinkedIn profile. You kind of get a good idea who they are, and then you just ask the question and they kind of talk. So it's grand. You just have to kind of make sure you're listening to answer that what they're saying, not listening to or just to ask the next question. So you're kind of
you're not going through the motions.
So was that like an easy transition for you then? Obviously coming from your career and what you were in, and then the podcast, and the only probably difference is us as a camera there, like, and it's getting recorded.
Yeah, no, I was nervous because the camera, like you can even hear it in my voice, like on the first episode. I think we even put, like, I wasn't even going to put that first episode out. I think we ended up putting it out as like episode 3 or 4 because I was like, I can't put that out.
That can't be the first.
But I listened to someone else listen to it, and they were like, yeah, just put it out. Like, yeah, it has to be, like, it's going to be shit, just put it out. Like, people forget about it. But like, and I wouldn't have probably even started only for that first guest because he was like, yeah, what date do you want to do it? He's like, I'm free Monday. I was like, yeah, okay, Monday, let's do it.
Yeah, shit.
And he came in, so we just got it done. Yeah, but yeah, it's
the confidence in that though does take me aback every time though. When you're reaching out to guests and they just have that,
let's do it.
Time, go for it. And it's just like as an interviewer or a podcaster, that confidence would have been built up within us over time of just doing it. But you have other lads there that it's just ingrained in them, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think now, like, as well, like, a lot of like business owners and everything else, like, they want to get out on podcasts now because it helps the personal brand. So it's helping your platform, but it's also helping their personal brand. So it's like, it's a mutual benefit as well at the same time. Like, even though there's no kind of finances exchange, you're still benefiting them because they're getting clips for their socials.
Is there a fine line though? Like, because obviously myself and Keith like took the route of stripping the person back behind the brand, like. And then that sort of gets people in to, see who you are or see who the MD of that company is. And then it sort of gives that relation to them where, I'm interested in that guy. I'm be interested in this business and stuff like that. Where, at the same time, we're getting certain people that want to come across a certain way because they actually still are the representative of that brand. You know what I mean? And they're sort of afraid of what they're going to say.
They have to get out of what they want as well.
Like there still has to be a certain level to it where they're happy with what way that conversation went. Like, otherwise, they're not happy with it going out either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they'll say like, I always give people the option. I say, look, if you say anything outrageous that you're not happy with, you can review the footage back if you want, or we'll take it out. Right? Like, so we're just fair with everybody across the board. But normally, like, the CEOs and everything, they're all fine, right? Whereas, like, if it's an employee coming on, because we interview entrepreneurs and employees, whatever, they have to go and ask their company if it's okay if I talk about my current job. And then if they say something, then maybe, we had a company in, the market manager actually sat in on the interview in the background, and they were taking notes, and then they came back with a whole list of stuff to like kind of take out. Now, they're saying take out 8 seconds here, 3 seconds here. It was a bit of a headache. It took like 3 weeks to get the episode out. But, if you want these brands to come on and you want to talk to them, you kind of have to allow that as well. But as the podcast, that was like early days. As the podcast has went on, you don't really get that too much because you kind of learn to kind of dance around certain issues or whatever. Or you don't. You're looking to just kind of show the journey of the person or the career path, not necessarily kind of delve into like too much personal detail and kind of chat shit about anything. I think we had someone come on and they had a PR company check us out, and they said that the brand or the podcast was a positive platform. It wasn't like a negative thing. Yeah. So if you just kind of keep all your conversations in a positive tone, I think you're pretty safe.
There does be that question, doesn't there? Like a lot of the time when we're trying to look for someone, they'll say like, what he is going to ask, what angle he is going at here, because they do naturally think, because there is podcasts out there that want the controversy, but a lot of it would be like, right, just have a look at a couple of our, it's only things that you want to say. We're not going to ask you things that are going to hold you up or put you in bad stead, like for what your business is. Like, it's literally like you said, it's just like the journey from where you started to where you are now. You seem to be doing well. How did you get to that point? Like, and there's always someone that's going to want to know how you did it. Like,
we'll back you with that as well, won't we? Like, because there is a catalogue there, like, of successful conversations that people can sort of take heed of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I was quite lucky as well though, right? So like I had like 20 army lads from my first 20, and that's how I knew, like, I think you have to get to 20 episodes or you're, like, most podcasts don't make it to 20. I think we were talking about the other day. And if you can get past the 20, you're pretty safe. So I just had 20 army lads on, why did you join the army? How did you go in the army? What did you do in the army? What did you do when you left the army? And then it was also to show lads that were in the army how to leave, and that there is like kind of light at the end of the tunnel essentially, but that, you know, it's not the worst job in the world, because it does get a bad rep sometimes, and there is good people that leave, but it is also a mixed bag of people that do leave and go into jobs. So it's just to kind of give people a different perspective, I suppose, than what they'd normally say, or a real insight into kind of different things to take on the pun.
There you go,
Oh, there's shit, yeah.
Was that the initial then drive for you then, was the army and promoting that aspect, or not even just promoting the army, like, but like you mentioned there, like giving people a route or a path or a you know, an idea that there is something beyond it, like.
Yeah, like there was loads of different reasons why I set the podcast up. One, like obviously commercial, right? Like I was thinking with my business, it was to be like to showcase our brand and get our kind of story out there. But it kind of just took a whole different path, I suppose. Yeah. So it's to just show brand awareness for our top drawer in Clifden, which are the 2 recruitment companies that we have. And we wanted it to be a career guidance podcast, but I didn't want to be like interviewing with candidates or interviewing with clients or giving them away. Yeah. So I was like, right, I know the army, I've kind of an okay reputation from the army. Let's see if we can get 20 army lads on. And then I had an apprenticeship, so we went then after our apprenticeships and Dublin Bus and everything else came on. And then I was like, right, where do I go next? And I was like, right, I'm interested in business. I'll chase a few investors. Yeah. We got like a few angel investors on or whatever. And then we just start talking to, then people start reaching out to us asking if they could come on. And then, you know, you'd be scrolling on TikTok or whatever, something. It's like, geez, that's interesting. You click follow and you send them a message and you'd arrange a time to meet in the studio. And that
is something, isn't it? Like, start getting the messages coming in and the people requesting. It's like, that is the step forward in it, where I think it changes, isn't it? Because it's like what you mentioned there, like you could have any business out there, and like, you know, we'd go to certain trade shows and stuff and you'd see like multiple stands and multiple different businesses and you'd get the same conversation out of them. Oh, I think I'll do this myself, like. Yeah. But it's the idea of yourself wanting to promote not just yourself and the business and what you're doing, but it's finding the niche in order to do that. You know what I mean? It's not just going straight, like you mentioned there, like this is my business, this is what we do, and it just becomes robotic. You know what I mean? You're finding a niche.
You're fulfilling your own interests, like unannounced to yourself at the start.
Well, it's like it's like one of those things though. Like so it was to show people like the army's not that bad. This is, if you're in the army and you're stuck and you want to leave the army, you're not really sure what you want to do. Well, this is how everyone else done it. They had most people had a plan to leave the army, but also like to just give like general kind of career advice as well, because we're very niche in what we do. Like we only help tech people and we only help supply chain procurement people. Like we don't really help a lot of people. So the podcast then can kind of help everyone and kind of gives insights into all different careers and all different backgrounds. Like we have like the multi-millionaire all the way to the lad that's kind of in recovery at the change in his life. So it's to show everything. It's not for just one thing. And some people like one episode more than the other and they can kind of flick between, or if they follow a different entrepreneur or they want to work in a certain business, it's also good to kind of see that CEOs kind of...
Was it mad to see it take that direction? As in, you know, getting the guests on that you probably thought you'd never have, like even when we seen Mattress Mick on it, like was that ever going to be a thing in the back of your head?
No, like even the people that you get to meet, right? Like, because you know, like obviously, like you've hound some people to come on, like Bobby from Manager on. I think I hounded him for like, well, I didn't hound him, but like text him nearly once a month for a year.
That's hounding.
Yeah. So like you do things like that to get like really good guests on, but then like Mattress Mick, I think I just rang a shop and someone just passed me. I was like, I'm looking to catch up with Mick or Michael if he's around.
Mick, Conor's on the phone.
And that's what it's like. Your man literally passed the phone to him and says, "Here, some fella wants to do his podcast," and he's like, and then he called out his phone number. I texted him and that was it then. We had a date in 2 weeks and he came into the studio.
It's like what you said earlier on, like these lads are ready and available if you just pick the right fella. Like, like we noticed, like Stephen would do most of the conversations, but like it's usually like a yes or a no. And then the no's are like, well, if I ever pluck up the courage down the line, I'll come in, like, you know what I mean?
Because the no was fair enough as well, because I think before I had a podcast, someone else had asked me to come on a podcast, I would probably said no. Like, but then you have a podcast, you're like, oh, why don't you come on? You can't get offended if someone says no. It's like, later
that's
on.
That's what it was nice to be asked onto yours, because we were like, Jesus, what would it be like on the other side of the table? We kind of got a grasp of what people are feeling coming in to us then.
But the growth thing though as well, just for yourself personally, because you build up a confidence for so long, like putting the questions out there to people, but
It's
you'd
completely
never
different,
really
yeah.
put the mirror on yourself then to see what way that would turn if it was put back on you. And it was actually mentioned to a lot of our listeners and stuff through Instagram, like that we'd have in the trade sort of community, where, you know, oh, you should do one where, you know, it's us asking you the questions and stuff, and we'd be happy enough to do it, and we would, and we'd take all the questions in, but we'd filter them, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and we'd answer them
just a
ourselves.
question I want to answer,
Yeah. So it's it's like Bucky mentioned, it's, you know, like the Gary Foxes and the Mattress Mix, and we spoke about it as well. It's their sort of personal goals, like for yourself, like to be able to get in and learn from those. And we've mentioned it as well, where we've had, say, the superstars of the trade industry and the influencers on, but then there's also the ones that you don't think are going to be big, and they just end up being, you know, they run away, and it'll be the people that you'd never think, like, where
they far outperform the ones you thought were going to be
like,
the big ones.
One of the biggest ones, still actually one of our, like, I think it's like in the top 5 still. Like, one of our early podcasts was like a lad that was in the army. He went to the guards, and now he's in the fire brigade. Like he's not a celebrity or anything. He's just an average kind of Joe Soap that moved through 3 different jobs. His podcast is one of the most viewed podcasts. So it's a great story, and the camera actually failed the files, so we only have put the audio. But like, that's still one of the most listened podcasts that we have. Like, and that's like, I think that's around, like, it's in the 1 to 20 mark anyway.
Yeah.
But
that is like, that sort of, you know, the average listener is the average Joe, you know what I mean? It's out there and is in work, and they see somebody who's in a similar position to them, maybe on the career chain or the ladder, and they're seeing these people, you know, potentially like make, you know, life changing decisions that are career changing
professions there. Not only because he worked with the 3 different parts of it, but like they're all, you know, as one. If you know what I mean.
But there's people out there like willing to make those choices and make those decisions in their careers, like, which then obviously then changes their personal stance. There could be people out there listening to that, like, and then they take so much from it, share it on, and it's doable because, you know, it's an average decisions, it's average choices, but it means so much. Where, you know, you could have, like, you know, the CEO of this company, or like a Fortune 500 guy on, you're thinking that's like, you know, a 1%, like, I mean, or a 0.1% of somebody that could actually like work out for them in that career path or whatever it is, you know what I mean?
But even like, not everyone wants to be like the entrepreneur, like, not everyone wants to be like, you know, multimillionaire and have a Ferrari. Like, most lads just want a car and a nice house, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, well, how do I get there? And it's like, okay, well, like, yeah, trade is one way, which I'd encourage. You join the army, and then if you haven't done your leaving cert, you go to college at night time, like, that's another way. So there's not like one straight line to success, and then success means different things to different people. So
exactly.
It's like, give people the insight and just give them that bit of guidance, because even if you're in school, the career guidance isn't great. You don't know what you want to do. If you're not really academic and you don't know that there's these different apprenticeships or different trade routes open to you, like, where do you find out? Like, so it's like different podcasts and different platforms that are kind of giving more insight to you. But when I was leaving school, like, I knew I wanted to be in the army, but when I wanted to leave the army, I hadn't a clue what I wanted to do.
Was that always the aim when you're going through school?
Yeah. So, like, I lived in the flats, right, and the army would have drove past all the time. Like, I'd be waving at them as a kid. And then my auntie lived in Rathmines, so you'd always like drive past the army barracks, and you just always had an interest in it. But then, obviously, when you're in, right, it's not what you think it is, but it's not terrible either, right? It just wasn't for me long term. And then, but obviously left school, no leaving cert, they let me go to college 3 nights a week for 3 years. Well, I've done 2 years, I've done a trip overseas, and then went back and finished it. And then I think there was an option then to go do a HDIP in business management. So there were short numbers, so I got to jump on. I got another level 8 degree then, where we got to go to Carlow then every Friday. So there's like all different routes in it. And then I was like, right, grand, I'm out here.
Did they promote that like externally before you even get into it? Or was that a shock to you when you got in there?
It was pure coincidence I found out about it. So I was on a boxing camp in McKee Barracks, and there was 2 lads in the 5th Battalion on studying law at night time. I was like, geez, I always thought I could become a barrister, and that's what the lads were doing. They were going to become barristers. But and I was like, geez, how do you do that? It's like, DBS does get down to DBS, there's an open night there on Tuesday night. I'll send you the link. And I was like, right, grand. Went down, and obviously I knew you had to apply to be a mature student with DBS. I think I had to get a letter from my boss as well in the army to say yeah, I'm capable of being a mature student. And and then
Harder to get,
and then you obviously paid, I think it was like $5,000 a year or whatever. You had to pay that, sit down to the credit union for the loan.
Top up.
And then and then that was it. Then I started college. Then once it all kind of got signed and sealed. But the army have what's called like a refund the fee scheme. So there's like a pot of money that's put aside every year or whatever, and you can apply for it, and you get like a percentage of your fee back. But you also get like money back from the taxman. Like, it's an investment. So
it is, in yourself. Like,
yeah,
like £5,000 in the grand scheme of things is not that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like looking back at it now, like, you know, like, and having a business and like seeing how money works and everything. Yeah, like it was a very small investment, but like
at the time,
when you're at the time, like, you know, that's fucking nearly like
you get a car for that back in the day. Like,
yeah, you would. I think the car driving was like $3,000 or something.
yeah.
A banger of a Ford Focus. But yeah, like you get all back, but you do have to kind of back yourself and kind of put that money into yourself. But like the education, I think, is like the great equalizer, right? Like, and it's the fastest way to wealth, I think, right? Now, wealth is not like, being super rich. I just mean having like a good steady income. But there's multiple different ways to educate yourself, right? It's not just college, like there's the trades and there's other routes. So yeah,
is that the stigma like that you would have seen around trades that are spoke about so much as well? Would you have had that in the army where, you know, you've had lads in there, there's a stigma put on them that you're only in the army for the fact that you couldn't potentially like go to, you know, third level education or whatever it was, or, you know, was that there? Because that was in trades for so long, wasn't it, that you're in, like, you know, your apprenticeship.
Oh yeah, because you couldn't go to college or whatever.
Yeah, was that there in the army as well, or?
No, because like when I was in training, like I was the youngest, so I was only 17 joining. But there was lads in there that were like 24, 25, and one of them was like a qualified chef, and the other one was a butcher. I think there was like a few like failed apprentices, right? But it is also one of those things, like if you fail your apprenticeship or you get sacked from your apprenticeship or you don't like working on the building sites, it's like, where else do you go? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
it's just like that other route. If it's something not working out for you, like, and it's not a
better that than the post office.
But then you even had, like, we spoke with the guy that I worked under an electrician. He was well into his, he was touching 60 at the time, but he was already in, he did his trade through the army, like, so he was collecting pension.
Yeah,
he was out, he served his time, but he was still working with us. Do you know what I mean? So he was on. Do you know what I mean? He'd already served his time in the army, and he said like it was one of the best jobs he ever had. He said, and I tried to get into the army actually after speaking to him, because he said it was great. You get to go all camps around Ireland, like, and do their maintenance and stuff.
You
like,
failed that mature.
I failed that one. yeah. I didn't get to that.
Yeah, didn't get to that. Yeah, but lads can. So you can go in. You used to be able to go in as an apprentice. But you had to have a certain amount of points you're leaving cert, or you go in like general service, and then you could apply for the apprenticeship later on down the line, whether it was a mechanic. I actually never seen like too many trade apprenticeships come up for like electrician or like plumber or anything. It was always like the armour course, like, so you'd be like a metal fabricator, like by trade essentially, but you're fixing weapons day to day. So it's quite specialised. So the armour and mechanic, they were the only trades I ever seen kind of be brought up through the ranks. But yeah, once you're in, you can. There's all these. You just have to get your foot in the door, right? And then there's all these different paths you can follow. Like the army is like when you go into the barracks, it's like a city in a city essentially. Like, you know, there's electricians, there's telecom operators, like you lads that put like all the comms and the satellites up. Like there's everything that you can think of to make something function, or a camp function, or a small town function overseas. So that's like the barracks, right? There's so much that you can do and so many different avenues that you can get. But typically in the Irish Army, right, like you have to be in a unit for like 10 years before you can transfer out of it, unless you get lucky. Right. Now that might have changed over time, but when I was there, yeah, you're kind of looking at 10 years to transfer out of like a fighting unit.
And is that when you sign a contract with the army, like are you signing for like a batch of years stint, or? Yeah,
so you go, well, when I went in, it was you sign on, you do your training, you pass your training. Well, it's a 5-year contract essentially.
Right. Yeah.
And then you do a 5-year contract, and then you have to achieve a certain amount of things within that 5 years in order to get another contract. Things like 3 courses and an overseas trip. Then you do 5 to 9, and then 9 to 12, and then 12 to 21, and then that's the pension. But that's all changed now as well. I think I had to do 21 years service And then at 56, I would have got my full pension. Whereas lads would have done, in the olden days, would have done 21 years service and got their pension at like 38. And that's it.
No taxiing then.
Yeah. But the amount of lads as well that like, you'd be at like loads of funerals as well, like lads that like retired out of the army and like 5 or 6 years later, like you're doing bear party at their funeral because they've died. They've just rotted away in an armchair.
There's loads of lads that would have died, and like I served with the army. You see lads, you know, in the get up, like, and you're like, was he in the army? Yeah. It's like, yeah, like he's retired like 20 years. Like it's like Jesus. I didn't even know he was in.
Isn't it like they like retire so early? Like they're mentioning that. Like
it's a good and a bad thing sometimes. Yeah.
But it's all changed now to be 56, so that's how to keep people. I think it's changed now again totally. I don't know the full ins and outs of it.
But even 56, like to say,
56, 56 a pension is, it's not bad. Like, but I don't know. Like, I think the pension would have been like 1,200 a month. Which,
it's all right when you're doing cash jobs on the side. The lad that I used to work with, he was flush. He was, yeah.
But a lot of obviously the trade aspect of it, you mentioned on when we were on your podcast with the plumbing, the short stint and that.
6 months or something.
What was the experience like? Right, so when I first went into we're on like a big building site and then we're in like Terranure College, right? So it was like me, obviously I was working under a tradesman, and then there was 2 other apprentices, right? So like couldn't have to bounce out with each other. I was like, hey, where's this? Can you help me with the acetylene bottle or whatever? No carrying upstairs, over the shoulder kind of thing. And they'd kind of help you. But then I got moved to, it was Cafe Mel, I think, just off Grafton Street there. And it was me and one trade and no other apprentices. And fuck me, man, he was an arsehole. Wouldn't show you, just fucking screaming all the time. And I was like, fucking hell. But I was like, when are you going to register me for FOSS? And they were like, oh, no. I was like, all right, see you there. So
that was the end of it,
yeah. It was back to school, and I was like, well, I'm not going back to school unless you sign the forms to let me join the army.
That could have went a completely different way, like if you had the right lad, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, because I remember, like, I was like, not really get the shop run or whatever, like, I was the only one, like, not making the mistakes, and lads like, oh, he's going to make it out there too, but, like, I just got put on side with the wrong fella, but I think they wanted, like, I don't know what they wanted, to be honest, but it just didn't work out. Like, your man was just fucking
but that happens
difficult character.
It can be the person you're with, like, that'll drag down the experience, but it can also be, you know, the company culture as well, like of just taking lads in and using and abusing them just for the labour, you know what I mean? And the whole point of like not putting a date on registering somebody or not having a timeline with that, like I can understand the whole aspect of it, and most companies will do it, like, you know, the probation period, like see how somebody gets on, like, but you know, when you're thinking 6 months down the line, like, and somebody is working hard, like, and getting stuck in, you know, you want to be giving somebody like well before that, like a registration date, like, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think normally you're meant to get it in 3 months or something, but like their rule was 6 months. Now, in fairness, right, we actually had that company that I worked for on the podcast, and they became a client then later on down the line, right? So
you did
it's not all bad, right? But
wasn't that much of a box,
like,
man.
So it was just like the tradesman I was stuck under, but like the CEO, no issue, like the lads are sound, but like it's just funny how it kind of changed and just they became a client. Made the feel Bob Elden, man.
But you make the pivot though, you know what I mean? And you know, you didn't just, like, a lot of people would let that sort of knock their first experience out, like earning a bit of money, like, you know what I mean? And then you do have that, like, sort of, you know, if you get knocked back, and we were only talking about it there, like, about lads like who sort of get stuck in that rut, like, and then don't take the extra step then to move on and get into their next job, like, you know what I mean? And, you know, with the likes of recruitment, like, and the recruitment business now, like, is there sort of completing that sort of circle, aren't you? Like, with people who have the skills, like, or, you know, if they actually get their foot in the door, can actually, you know, excel within a company, but it's just getting them to, you know, get the CV together, get in front of an employer and sell themselves, you know? Yeah,
like, it's mad. But like, if I hadn't have joined the army, right, like, I don't know what else I would have done, or what, I wasn't going back to a building site, like, because I was totally turned off it. And then on a building site as well, you're kind of on your own as an apprentice, right? Especially if you're just with one lad. Whereas in the army, like, I always found, like, there's always, like, in a group or a room like 8 lads, so there's always someone else that's trying to get the shit, and you could see it. So I was like, oh, it's not that bad, you know.
This podcast is coming to you sponsored by Snickers Workwear Ireland.
Jump over to the website snickersworkwear.ie if you want to see the full range.
Yeah, like young lads getting in the door, it can turn them off like massively, and they just have to. It's getting into the right place and getting into the right company that's going to develop you. But again, getting into the army in 2008, then the recession hit, right? So I had a mate that was trying to be a plumber, and he was kind of in and out of work for a week, and then out of work for 3 weeks, and bopping and weaving, and then he ended up moving to Canada or whatever. So it just depends. But
I really like that, like with the likes of the recession and stuff, like you would have never thought like that you would maybe utilise the recruitment agencies at the time that were out there, you know what I mean? But you were like having to just take it, and there were people like were taking advantage at that time as well, not looking out for lads' well-being as well. It's just the body, like, and I'll get you in anywhere, and I don't care what you're doing, like it's just
and what role you're in, just get you in the door.
Where like now I think, like, you know, when you look at, and me in the position now doing interviews like with the company I'm in, you know, you have a specific procedure in place, like actually to have the right people reviewing people's CVs, like, and getting them in front of the right people, where you're not just like using them as like to make that, you know, money off that person because of the finder's fee or whatever, you know.
Yeah, like it's very niche. Like you're really matching personalities, like, so, and you're not like when you're like interviewing someone for a job, right? Like everything is like understanding like their motivations for wanting a job and where they came from, what was that operation like, did it, and then will that suit the next operation? Or like if I have a trade, let's say, I don't recruit trades, right? But if I did, I'd be interviewing you, essentially, like ask all the questions: what are you looking for? What do you want this lad to be doing? What does your day look like? And then you're interviewing the guy to see if his day kind of matches up, or if he'd be interested in doing something similar to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you get any inkling that
just a bit of common ground,
oh no, that wouldn't really suit me, you just kind of move on to the next guy, you know, and kind of you'd send him maybe to someone like yourself. Then it just
is it hard to marry the two? Like, is it like, I'm thinking, like, I'm like obviously employer to employee, like there's nothing in the middle there, do you know what I mean? So that either ends really well for me or it ends really bad. There's no in between. That's where the likes of someone like you
have that negative impact on yourself as well if you're actually providing the wrong
person. That's what I was about to say.
Like, back to you, you know?
We're quite lucky. Like our retention rate, I think, is like 95% on the candidate you put into permanent jobs. But it's a double. Like recruitment is like, look, it is kind of a sales job in a sense, right? But like, you can't have one without the other. So I have to sell you to the candidate, because people have choice of employer at the moment. It is still candidate driven market, like we're candidate short. And then the employer has to kind of like you as an individual as well. And you're kind of like matchmaking. And if you get it wrong, then you're next on the line, essentially.
Still
you know?
a black, he's like.
Yeah. So
recruitment Tinder, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it's like. Almost. Because if you're training people, like, you can't compare it to like dating somebody, you know, because it's like, well, you know, you have to make sure they're going to get on, they have to chat, and you can even tell like when someone comes out of an interview if they got the job. So if I'm talking to the candidate, it's like, how long did the interview last? 15 minutes. I was like, okay, what kind of questions did he ask you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of short, wasn't too much. He seemed quite busy or not interested. Oh, you didn't get the job. All right, give me a minute.
Move on to the next.
Keith, you know, did he? What? How's didn't like him. Bad attitude. He wasn't wearing a suit or wasn't dressed properly. Showed up in a tracksuit. Like, it can be small things like that can throw it for you. But like, you normally give the candidate a heads up. Say, here, let's stick on a jeans and a t-shirt. It depends on the job, right?
Yeah.
Now, if it's an exec, you're gonna say, you know, you have to be suited and booted. But you know, if it's a young lad going into a warehouse, no, jeans and a t-shirt, good impression.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in a suit. So it's all like these little small things, and you kind of also walking the person through the process as well, because, you know, sometimes you're just like sticking your CV onto a job board and sometimes you can come to an interview, it's like, what am I interviewing for? Because you're just like, people just fire their CV to like hundreds of jobs, and you're just like, we'll take the one that comes to me first.
And it's knowing the role you're going for. Like, I had a conversation with somebody in HR who does interviews for large companies as well, just to get advice, like, from just doing interviews then myself, like, and it's like, it is, you know, it's a niche thing to be in, like, you know what I mean, when you're not doing it that often, like. And one of the things is that they were looking out for is that, especially when you're looking for a generic role, like, you know what I mean, if it's an operative role, like, and, you know, there are people coming in the door who, and this is like the double-edged sword of it as well, like, who have too much ambition, you know what I mean, and they want more for themselves, like, even in a short period of time. They want that progression, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they could be a great worker, like, I mean, but they're just looking for somebody who just wants to be happy in that role, like, I mean, because they need that role.
They want the great worker, not the
yeah.
one that wants to be over the great
Yeah,
worker.
because they might not have the potential or the opportunities that will arise for them to actually move out of that position and move forward within that company, you know what I mean? So you're looking at somebody like who looks great on paper, and actually is great in the interview and has the potential and the want and the need to progress themselves and, you know, grow themselves personally and professionally. But then you have the other person coming in who is like, you know, great for that role. And it'll work out, like, you know what I mean?
Sometimes good is good enough.
Yeah,
like, you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah, like, but that's the thing. Like, not everybody wants to be the MD or a manager. Some people just want to go to work, clock in at 9 and clock out at 5, collect the paycheck, and be done. So again, that's what, like. So not to get too technical, right? But like when you're interviewing somebody, you're looking for like their intrinsic motivations and their extrinsic motivations. So like what motivates them in work, and then what's the motivation factors outside of work. And then you're trying to see if you can kind of find a job that will marry both of those for what that person is looking for, and also marry them to the hiring manager that they're going to report to. Because you can work for this really great brand, right, and this company, and they have, you know, perfect benefits package, but the manager is quite difficult to get on with, or they're very set in their ways, and they won't change, and they're not going anywhere because they're doing a really good job in that company, and that company's not getting rid of them because they're safe. So that candidate that, you know, is excellent on paper might not be a good personality fit for that. So you kind of have to marry that all up and take that all into consideration. Now, obviously, you know, as a recruiter, you kind of have to send a couple of different options, but you're kind of guiding the candidates on where to go. And then, especially because we're so niche, like, you might have like 5 procurement managers applying for a procurement manager job, but then you know that there's different positions open. So it's like, look, sit tight for the moment. You're not in a rush to move anywhere. This job is closer to your house. You're looking for a shorter commute to work. And then you make a call, and then they're in the door. So you're even finding the jobs then before they even pop up, or you might know there's a gap because you've seen other CVs come through like 3 or 4 months ago, and you're kind of clocking and saying, hey, this company has a job coming up in the next 6 months, and you keep an eye on the job boards, and it pops up. It's like, ping, I had this lad a few weeks ago.
Ready to go.
Are you interested? And then they're kind of like, yeah, okay, so time to hire then. And that's the benefits then of using the agency. So it just depends, but it's all about like giving companies what they want, and also giving the candidate or the job seeker what they want. And because look, a job, and we all identify with our jobs, right? It's like, oh, what do you like? It's one of the first questions you get asked when you're out. Like, what do you do? That's like, oh, I'm a sparks or I'm an electrician, and then. So people are like identify as their job. So you have to make sure like that they're going into the right job. If you don't care about like that they're going into the right job, you're not doing your job properly, and then they're going to leave their job. You're going to lose your.
Well, that 95 retention rate is not going to be there. Like, is it really? Yeah,
and that really affects us. But because we're so specialised, it's not a case of like where we're doing an accountant one day, an electrician the next day, and a JCB driver one day, like, or like just doing anything in the logistics or the procurement world, and we're just like we're in. What do I say? We're an inch wide and a mile deep kind of thing. So you have, like, if you're specialised in it, you're safe. But if you start being like a generalist, you're snookered. Like, I tried to recruit for a CFO before for like an ex colleague or whatever. It's a fucking disaster. I was like, I didn't even know what questions to be asking. And you can really niche down on those questions then as well. Like, a good recruiter should be able to pass a first round interview for the job that they're recruiting for. Now, when it gets into the details and how to do the job, you'll probably collapse. But if you can get past through the first 15 minutes of a first round interview, you're probably safe, you know.
So what's I don't know if you probably obviously do this in your checks as well. Like, if you look at the likes of all these businesses, and you'll see it on a smaller scale, like the time and effort that has to go into advertising a job, running through people's CVs, trying to pick a CV out, like, and altogether, what's the saving in a company to use a recruiter, like?
Yeah, so it's again, right, it's having that like industry knowledge, right, is one, and then your time to hire. So, and you can also like set realistic expectations. So, you know, your company might be looking for, just say, an electrician, right, but they're only paying 45 grand for a qualified electrician, but company X or your competitor company is paying 80 grand. You have to then go back to that company and say, this is what your competitors are doing, this is what you need to match. And then again, you also have that access to that passive market. So sometimes when a company puts a job on a job board, you're getting the best of what's available and not the best candidate for the job.
Yeah.
So we're kind of reaching out to the, like I said, like the guy, I'm saying, look, sit tight, I know the job's coming in 2 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever it is. And then you're kind of putting them in. So you're giving companies access to a talent pool that they wouldn't have access to by just using a job board. And then like time to hire, industry knowledge, and then also like productivity. So you're paid to be an electrician with Mighty or whatever it is. If you're spending all your time hiring for another electrician and you're not doing your job as an electrician, then Mighty are losing money on the money that they're paying you. So you're paid by your company to be effective. Yeah. You're not being effective in your job. So it's easier to use a talent partner or a recruitment partner to kind of fill that void. And that way, 9 times out of 10, if it's a permanent job, you're trying to send through 5 CVs. Out of that, you'll pick 3 people to interview for first round. And then you'll give me the feedback. We'll regret one and we'll move 2 through the second round. And then you have an option A and option B. So if your first preference doesn't take the job and your second preference is qualified for the job, then you'll take the second preference.
And you just take those type of feedbacks from the client and the candidate, even let's say they come out of a contract, would you take feedback from the candidate? What was it like in there?
Yeah, 100%. And like sometimes a candidate will come out of an interview and say, I don't think I'll get on with that person, I don't think I'll get on with Stephen or whatever. Like not interested in going to work there. Didn't like the company. That fan that they're gonna have me driving is a bit of a banger. I'm not not getting stuck up north.
It's great for you then to be able to take all them details.
Yeah, and then you can also then prep the next candidate then as well. Say, look, the van isn't going to be in great shape. It is what it is, but it's a well-paid job.
Dublin.
Yeah, you won't be. Yeah, so you have to take it from both sides. But again, you should cover that off like in the first brief. Like so, when you're giving me the job, I'm almost interviewing you and to analyse everything that you're looking for. And sometimes companies don't have time or don't want to have that first initial call with you to give you all the information that they want for the job. And sometimes you won't need it because you'll have worked with them before, you kind of understand their business. But then if they don't give you the time and then you're sent through candidates and they're saying, here, look, no.
That's not what we wanted, yeah.
Well, then tell me what you want.
Yeah.
So you get feedback from both parties.
Like. You can't be ignorant to it, can't you? Like I mean, like you see yourself, you have like exit interviews with like the smallest of companies to the biggest of companies will do it.
Like on that scale, I was just thinking as you were talking there, like you wouldn't have the luxury of word of mouth, like where I would. Do you know what I mean? Like because the skill is not. Usually, if you're taking on a first year apprentice, they don't have the skill. So like it's up to you to instill that in them. So in your role, Conor, it's like you don't have the word of mouth. You literally have to do a lot of groundwork to find the right person. Like, you know what I mean?
Sometimes you'll know as well. Like if a company, if someone comes from a certain company and they're only there a short period of time, you know that's a kind of a red flag. But there could also be a legitimate reason. You have to kind of dig into it and kind of uncover it. And then you also have like reference checks as well. Like so you'd ring up and you take a reference or whatever. So you're kind of doing all these due diligence checks before you kind of. Well, you might say it depends. You're never going to contact someone's reference if they're currently like if one of your electricians comes to you and say, "Here, I'm looking for a job." I'm not going to ring and say, "Hey, what's he like?" I'm sending them for another job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not going to. It's always going to be one where they've either walked away or they were let go or.
Yeah, and look, being fired as well is not a bad thing. Like you can recover from that because again, like. You have to spend like 40 hours a week, right, with someone that you work with or someone that's on your team. So you have to make sure you get the personality traits and everything right, not just the skills. And sometimes it's easier to get the personality fit in and then train the skill, you know? It just depends. And not one job, every, like, forklift driver, right? Like, in one warehouse might do a very different job to a forklift driver in a different warehouse. But it's seen if he has the aptitude to use, like, a system. Like even a driver, like you're asking drivers, can you use Google Maps? Now it doesn't like the back of my hand. Okay, grand. But then a lad coming from Romania, let's say, that's going into like a truck driving job. Can you use Google Maps? Like, can you speak English? All these like little small things, the finer details of like, can you actually do the job, or will you be able to function day to day in the job? Or you have to test these things.
An image on just the map and the windshield.
Driving on the M50.
It is though. It's an interesting thing to think about because you see yourself as an employee or you see yourself as the candidate, and it's something where you are only looking at your own skills and ability. but you're not thinking about like what you mentioned there, like is, you know, the other caveats that go with it, like it's, you know, the manager or the company, you know, looking for, you know, a certain type of person that's going to work well with that crew or the team that goes with it, and you have to think about that like when you're hiring people as well. But it's like that, like Keith was mentioning, the groundwork that you're putting in, it really does save the client like a lot of time, and it could save the client a lot of hassle down the line as well, like, you know what I mean, with somebody who, like you mentioned, won't sort of gel, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the small things as well. It's like how that like client will give feedback. Like some clients will say he was shy, or that's a shit CV, like no. And then other clients will give you like real detailed kind of articulated feedback. And then it's like, well, that how is that person going to respond to that feedback? So it's like, and then you're like managing egos and everything else. Like, so it's a very fine balance. Like I don't like people like kind of ring you up and expect CVs today or tomorrow. Yeah, you can do it in some cases, but like you're better off taking the time, because a bad hire costs more money down the line, you know, because of the fee and everything else involved. But yeah, like, and then also if you get a lad in that is like qualified sparks but doesn't have a cert, just kind of grandfathered or whatever, and he wears something up wrong, like
you're into another
it's a whole different ball game,
well,
you know. So you have to like, you're protecting you have to protect the candidate from going to the wrong employer, but you also have to protect the client from getting the wrong person in the door, and being honest with your feedback as well, saying, look, this person has X, Y, and Z, probably not too strong in here, but you know, he's $5 grand cheaper or 10 grand cheaper than the guy that you're looking to. If you can train him up, you know, you might be okay. So
mold them or something.
Yeah, it just depends.
And come here, are you happy enough in the niche, or is it something that you'd like to explore, going into, you know, branching out into the different careers? Like
construction is like one of those things, like it's like hot subject at the moment. It's booming, right?
Yeah.
But
hostile.
Yeah, I've always tried to kind of stay away from it, right? Because I think it's like too gritty. But like logistics and procurement is huge. I don't think anyone like realizes how big it actually is, because you've got air freight, sea freight, road freight. Then you've like the purchasing of products, and you've got like the purchasing of services. So it's like
it's massive.
It's a huge industry,
and it'll run through any sort of, you know.
Yeah.
It'll be any other thing.
COVID or any of that, like it'll still go. You know
like
what I mean?
logistics boomed through COVID. Like that's actually how like I started in tech, and then like I was working for my friend's dad or whatever, and he was like, look, any chance you get me a driver? Like I seen you in recruitment, and I had a truck license from being in the army, so I kind of knew like what a driver had to do or whatever.
What you need, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, come on, I'll give it a bash. And then Top Drawer was born because I wanted to kind of keep it separate. Like keep the brand separate, and then Top Drawer just kind of took off, you know. It's a slow one, right? But it's like we're not doing terrible. We're not breaking records either. But I think like we'll stay in the industry that we're in, because it's huge. But I'd like to kind of dip my toe into the US and the UK and kind of branch out into different countries. But again, like I have a small team. Like I've kind of got it's me and 2 other recruiters, so I need to kind of grow the team as well.
And is that type of niche, would it be copy and paste in other countries? Like there wouldn't be too much of a deviation in what you're doing?
Well, yeah, I think like, well, let's say you're getting like a customs customs broker or whatever. Like the customs rules were probably the same in the EU, but maybe different codes or whatever for like the Netherlands or whatever it's going in. So the UK now is totally separate, like as well, because Brexit, and there was a Brexit course customs people had to do in Ireland. But yeah, I'd say very much like copy and paste, but there'd be different like acronyms and stuff that you'd have to learn. But like, I think it'd be fairly much like a procurement, someone that buys coal or buys gold, you know, it is what it is. You're just moving it, instead of moving it into Ireland, you're moving it into Germany or whatever.
Yeah. Makes sense to do that then, The 1040 aspect then of the podcast, just taking it back to that.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a name that would have come to you. We spoke on the phone, myself and Keith, about naming our one.
Yeah.
Did you have any input from anybody else regarding that name, or was it just something that you'd always had in the back of your mind?
No, it was a goal, right? So it was like 10 million by 40, right? That's way off it, right? Haven't even made the first one, but yeah, like that was what I was kind of thinking, and then it was kind of like, I'll just put that up there. And it's not a bad name, right? It's a bit catchy.
It's catchy, yeah, it is catchy.
But it's like, I also wanted it to be like a job board, like Indeed, right? It's like, you wouldn't think Indeed is a place where you go to search for jobs. Like it's not like, but it's also like that universal name that the brand could be known anywhere. So hopefully like, at some stage 1040 might get bigger than me or bigger than a podcast. And companies, instead of me recruiting, it's like, well, here's a cheaper alternative just to advertise your jobs, because like I said, like I've got lads coming to me asking me for mechanics, CFOs, like scaffolders, like you name it. People ring me, how can you help me out with this? And I'm just like, look, do you know what, I'm gonna say no, but if you want, you can advertise on this platform. So it was a way of me like kind of not losing money as well. It's like another stream of income.
No, we did see that too. You're like obviously the socials and stuff, and you can see the jobs coming up on it, and you're using that then as an extension like of what you're already doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you get the listeners in, you get the followers in. So why not get what you're doing in your day to day in front of them as well through that platform?
Yeah. So like if anyone does have a business, like they can advertise on the platform. Like we had like even like Ray Cook, like he's like recruiting like real estate agents or whatever. Like I don't recruit real estate agents, and I don't even know how I would do it. But if he wants to or whatever, or someone else wants it, they can just advertise their jobs up there. Rather than me saying like, oh, I can't do it. It's like, well, look, I don't recruit real estate agents. Go advertise it here, and that's it.
Would you think about doing something live with it? Maybe doing like a trade show, or even it's a live event or something?
Yeah, I got asked to do one there in the RDS, but it was just too short notice for like the blue. It's called Out of the Blue. It's one of the lads. His next guard, he set up like a job fair almost for ex services, like, and brought in different employers. Now he's at the ground it now, so it's like for people that are leaving, to give them a pathway, and then also a pathway into the guard. So he's doing like the aptitude test and things like that as well. Okay. And I think we're gonna do something down the road there, but I would like again, like it's like, is it gonna like cost me too much money, or what's the investment in doing like a live show? Yeah, obviously I was saying to you the other day, like it'd be great to do one. But it's
always been a goal, like, isn't it?
Yeah,
something
it's like
to
what
get
angle?
In front of people,
to tick the box, like I know we didn't really think too much. What it just came our way, and we kind of just took the opportunity kind of thing. But it wasn't. Obviously, we had planned on doing it live, but it wasn't at our forefront. And then when it came our way, we just did it, like, you know what I mean. And it was
it is a different level. I nearly passed out before.
Oh, did you? Did you have many people in front of you? Or
the first day, like we had a good, like, what would you say, like 30 people maybe just there, like, and it'd be bystanders and sitting, but it was in the RDS, like, you know what I mean. But it would be people we know as well, like, you know what I mean. So it'd be people that we know listen to the podcast. So it'd be like,
would have never met us or seen us, like, at the time probably.
But it's just that, like, the heart is gone before it, like, and so I just it's like that you get up, and we had it, like, a couple of cards there to do it.
Flashcards, yeah.
We made a joke with them when we threw them, like, you know what I mean, away, like, you know what I mean? But
they weren't working anyway.
But it's like that, it's that sort of next step, isn't it? Because, like, you see you see other people doing it, like, where, like, like Bord Gosh or the Gaiety or whatever it is. I mean, it's a different level, like, you know what I mean? If it was a hotel or, and you're getting people, you're getting your community into a room, you know what I mean? And it just sort of, not sort of finalises or, puts a finish on something, but it definitely puts like that cherry on top, doesn't it? Like, where you can get people into a room and actually integrate with you, like, and actually get people involved in what you're doing. Because we sit in these rooms, and it's one-to-one. Like,
but the thing is, with the lads that are on our podcast, like, I reckon if we had something live and we were in like a hotel setting, it'd be like wildfire. Like, it won't be us speaking. Like, these lads all want to speak. Like, so you're just incorporating. We'd just be like maybe at the head of the table. Like, but it'd be the other lads would be just catch fire.
Jerry Springer. Or
not literally, but like you're like Jerry Springer.
It's like, it's what angle you take. Like, it'd be great to do something like that, like in a hotel, or like I think Gary done his that's actually the first one that I went to, like, was in the Sugar Club. And he had like the audience, and he had like some people up, and then he done like one where it was recorded, he put it up, and then he had like an off camera one there. It was just kind of,
and he just sort of recycled some previous guests for his one as well, did he?
Yeah. Some, and then he had like so like you could ask questions then as well. So it's like, it's what do you do and what angle do you take with it, and then who do you get then to be our guests, and are you going to sell enough tickets and all? Or
because this is so niche, like, it's driven towards business entrepreneurs. Making a few quid, and like 9 out of 10 people are into that, like, you know what I mean. So you could actually go, and even if he hasn't got a guest on, you can draw an answer from him, because he's done it so many times. You
see things like where one of the comedians, he has an app, you scan the QR code going into the venue, and you can text him questions, and he asks your questions, Jimmy Carr, and he takes the piss out of you then for asking the question or whatever. But so you do little things like that, but it's like, you have to, like, again, right, my podcast, or both our podcasts are kind of like career focused, like, so it's like, is that interesting enough then to be a live show, and then like what entertainment do you put in, what's the value, and all that.
There's such a variant on it, like,
Just
you
give
know what I
out
mean?
jobs. Try out jobs.
Yeah, try out jobs.
Jobs for everyone.
Exclusive jobs. Discrimination.
Houses for everyone.
But to be more there. But yeah, like again, like if we're nearly, well, I think next week we'll have done our 100 episode, or record our 100 episode, probably won't be released by next week. But it's like, what's the next milestone then? Like getting over 100, like that's like not many podcasts make it to 100.
Wow.
Like,
It is a big thing, isn't it? Like when we hit it, like it was, you know, we put it up on Instagram and you're getting the congratulations. You don't really see that, or you don't see the impact that it's had on people as well. Like I mean, when you start getting the feedback, like of people who've listened, like week in, week out, like, and are asking when's it back again, or when are you starting back up again, and you know, you're just off, you know, planning the next season or looking for guests and stuff, and you don't realise how much of a staple it's been for people, like every Monday or whatever it is, whatever the release is, you know? Yeah,
because I haven't put it out in a few weeks anyway, because weddings or whatever.
Yeah.
But people texting like, "Are you still doing the podcast?" Like, what's going on with the podcast? I was like, I'm just taking a break, like, you know?
relax.
I only do a podcast like one day a month, you know, give me a break. But yeah, like, but even like people like, you know, when you're doing your shopping, people staring at you. It's just like, do I know you?
Yeah, you'll be saying that. You'll be in the Blanchardstown or somewhere, like doing your shopping with the missus,
or even the whole side, even in here, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'd have the kids, like we were outside, so you sit outside Penny's, you go and do your bit, like, so I had a young lad outside, some fella just comes up, he's shook my hand.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I love the podcast," and you're just like, the young lad's asking, and who's that? Like, I was like, don't know. You know what I mean? It's just like, but it's great for them to be able to see it. Like, it's just they see that you've put time and effort into it, and you're getting some sort of reaction to it.
Like, I'm sure you're the same. Obviously, being in business and stuff, but you're getting your own nuggets out of it as well. Like, people you're talking to, like, you know.
But that's it. Like, you know, like even like Bobby Wright, he's one of the top CEOs in Ireland. I've no value to offer him, so it's like, he comes on the podcast, he sees his personal brand is getting something out of it, and I still get to have a conversation with him, kind of get inside his brain, see how it works a little bit. Like, even that from a business point of view, like Kerry Hannafy, like great story, like, you know, aesthetics business, started out in London, and now look what it's gone into. Like, so even like getting to talk to these people is unbelievable. And there is a bit of value add there, because it's not a case, like, as a recruiter as well, like, you're kind of ringing around to businesses saying, "Oh, can I have a job? Can I work in your job? Can I do this? Can I do that?" Whereas at least the podcast does that bit of added value, and you're getting to talk to these people. And again, as an entrepreneur, it's like, I don't like have loads of like a big entrepreneurial network that I can go speak to, so you're getting to talk to these people then as well. Like, so it does open up doors for you, but there has to, you know, they might ring you about a HR question or whatever, and you'll answer and say, "Yeah, look, I'm not."
Would you consider it a hobby, like, or like, what we're talking a lot of work here?
Yeah,
is
the
there
podcast,
things you like to do?
It's a passion. It's more of a passion project. Yeah, it is a passion project. Like, it's one day a month that I just dedicate to it now, and it's grand. And you might do 2 days a month if you can't get the guests or whatever.
It's hard to get the balance, like, because we were doing it every week, every Thursday for a stage, and then we've cycled it down to kind of.
I was doing that for a while as well. It's time drainer. Like,
it is, because you don't understand what goes into it.
But you don't enjoy it. I don't think we were enjoying it, but you don't.
It starts becoming a pain in the arse. Like,
it just becomes you're not actually soaking it up. Like, you know what I mean? It's the next.
You're
one,
literally not
one,
getting anything out of it yourself. It becomes a chore.
Because sometimes you're just going through the mode. Like, some guests, like, you know, it's not, like, you're not putting your best foot forward because you're probably just like burned out from the universe.
I knew you felt that when we were on.
Yeah,
I knew.
I don't even like
you two Wallies.
No, but I think you were the only ones I had that day. So I think I was on game for a long time.
You were, I enjoyed that. Yeah, I just enjoyed that. Now I feel special there. So.
I've got a lot of good clips out of that one, actually. Yeah. That's what I said. It's the likes of that there, where, you know, you see that as the hobby, right? But then the hobby then starts to, you know, the bit of the work sinks into it, right? Yeah. And then you're looking at then the likes of, you know, myself and Keith, like, say, like, we used a bit of, like, say, like, time to, say, go off to Slane or something like that and just enjoy it, like, you know what I mean, and get something out of it where you're saying stuff like, something that's come from the podcast where you can say enjoy a bit of it. And I see you now, like, even with the trike and stuff like that, like, where you're offloading a lot of energy into that, like, as well. Like,
it's dying on that.
We're dying.
But you have something else then to, you know, you can't solely focus on, you know, say, like, the business and the podcast, where they tie in with each other. the business end of it does like sort of come one with the other, like as much of an enjoyment as it is, like, you know what I mean?
Like that was kind of one of the things when I started the business, like like after being in the army, right? Like I wasn't the fittest soldier ever, right? But like there is an element of fitness, and that kind of seeped away when I started the business. Like kind of ballooned, like a while loads away, and now it's only like actually it's probably. I've obviously been trained like lifting weights or whatever, but it's only in the last kind of 6 or 7 months that like the business is in a place where it's kind of like it's okay. It's not still has a little good bit of growth, but it's like starting to concentrate on something else, like a bit more training. Kind of even like those competitions like the Troika or the High Rocks. Just I haven't forced High Rocks in a few weeks, right? But it's just something to kind of keep you focused, keep you pulled, to kind of keep you out of the office.
Yeah, that's it, because you can get
consumed it. Like the last 5 years, like we're in business now 5 years, but it's only like in the last kind of year that I've kind of started to kind of, okay, it's okay to finish work at 6 or 7 o'clock. You don't have to work till 10 o'clock every night. Obviously there's still nights where you have to kind of stay up, get things done. But it's only like the last year where it's like, okay, I can settle here. Like we have a good customer base, good candidate pool.
So having to look after yourself,
so like you do kind of.
But it all follow like that's just it starts with yourself, like, you know what I mean? Like if you start to, like you mentioned there, like get into a bad rut, like, or it does affect everything else, doesn't it? Like the domino starts to fall, you know what I mean, when if you're not looking after your own sort of health or well-being or mental health as well, like, you know. Yeah, like that's massive as well, like, you know, you have to fucking keep something out. I obviously even say to the lads that work for us, like, you have to be doing something outside of this office, because if you're not, you're just going to suffer, you know. And it's fucking just life just becomes monotonous, doesn't it? Like wake up, go to work, have dinner, go to bed. Listen to your podcast or something.
Yeah, have a listen.
You just listen to the podcast when you leave here.
Sleep stories.
But I think we'll have to lock in then the day for the live then or something, maybe.
Yeah, with collaboration.
Do a collab, yeah.
Do a collab, yeah.
Half the money then as well.
Well, you're going to pay.
What's the hardest question of the lot?
Spotify playlist. This season, we're doing what we always do. We get all our guests to pick a song of choice. Usually something what they're listening to at the moment.
So you can sing if you want.
You can sing it, yeah. That's an option we've been given. Yeah. I think one of the first guests did sing, so it's kind of like that was cool.
What, like playlists? Alright,
just a singular song, yeah.
I've been listening to a lot of the Black Eyed Peas recently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, in the morning, going to the gym, getting pumped.
Yeah.
That'll be it.
Pick one of those. Pump it, maybe. That's
Pump it, yeah, there you go,
yeah. Daily, yeah, we go with that, yeah.
That's bringing the mood on the playlist up, because it's been fairly indie acoustic. And
what do you just put like a song at the end of it?
So I just had a playlist, so like every season, so there's actually a playlist on Spotify then, but every guest choice on it then, so at the end of it then I throw the link so they can add it then to their Spotify or whatever it is, like, going forward. I used to add the song. I used to play the guests out for it, but then I got a warning from Spotify.
Oh yeah, because the copyright strikes and stuff.
So that stopped.
We were on under the radar for a while there.
Yeah, they call us.
It's when you start getting the view numbers up then. Our TikTok, actually, our business TikTok got fucking disabled because we were posting too many jobs.
Jesus.
Yeah, like not even for music.
We're not making money out of that, so
if you're paying them though, like, you know, if you're doing the boosts and things or paying the premium or everything,
they leave you alone.
They leave you alone, yeah. But look, we'll appeal it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Look, great having you on.
Yeah, thanks very much. I hope that was alright for you.
100%.
Yeah.
Man.
Thank you.
That was easy, actually. Yeah. Because you know what you're at.
Right, that's just about it. Season 10, episode 5 in the can. Another good one.
Conor, absolute legend. Thought he came across quite well, and yes, was nervous coming into it, just the way we were, and we were on the other side of the desk as well. So, look, really enjoyed it. Great to get a bit of an insight into Conor and, you know, what he has going on in his life as well. So, all good.
Seeing the other side, the recruitment game is alive right now, and like that, somebody who's putting their time and effort into getting people off the couch and into work has to be commended. And like that, the podcast, 1040 podcast, available on all platforms just like our own, and potentially, like we mentioned, we could do a collab and potentially a live show down the line if
100%.
If all things fall into place. But just want to thank our sponsors like we always do, Snickers Workwear Ireland.
And a special mention to N2 Electrical here in Ashbourne and to all the lads involved. So thanks very much.
Yeah, if you liked what you heard, make sure you head over to wherever you get your podcast, give us a like and a follow, and you'll be notified when the next one drops. Take it easy.
Talk to you on the next one.